Now we want to get you back to the latest controversy surrounding those remarks by former President Donald Trump Wednesday night about women.
They said, sir, I just think it's inappropriate for you to say, pay these guys a lot of money. Can you believe it? I said, well, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to protect them.
The Harris campaign was quick to seize on that remark and that moment. The vice president Thursday calling the remarks offensive. Her running mate, Governor Tim Walz, referenced the comment Thursday in Pennsylvania while discussing reproductive rights.
He said, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. That's how this guy's lived his life. That's why he was on the Access Hollywood tape, and that's why he ended up in court, because that's what he thinks about it.
For more analysis, let's bring in politics reporter at Semafor, Shelby Talcott. She joins us from our Washington bureau. Shelby, this is interesting because there's already a fairly wide gender divide this election between the candidates. Are you sensing that it's closing at all?
Not really, and again, we're not really going to know until after the presidential election, but it does seem clear to me that both campaigns have decided that they are going to focus on their main base. With Kamala Harris's campaign, that means that they're focusing on women. With Donald Trump's campaign, it means that they're focusing on men. And when I talk to both campaigns, they argue, well, yeah, sure, these are our core base, but we are targeting some of those other folks. But in all of the public events and comments that are made and decision-making that goes on with Donald Trump going on some of these podcasts, you can sort of tell that that's where the crux of their focus is with less than a week out.
And what's fascinating to me is that within a day of President Biden making the garbage comment, we see former President Donald Trump in a vest showing up next to a Trump emblazoned garbage truck, and within a day of, Harris making gaffes, within a day of Trump saying these remarks, the Harris campaign has ads out saying that he wants to, he's bad for women. Is any of this effective, though, when it comes to making a closing argument and convincing the undecideds? If the bases are already in their corners, what difference does this make?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. The vast majority of voters at this point in the presidential election have made up their minds. And when I have talked to undecided voters, oftentimes they already know who Donald Trump is and the things he has said. And the big undecided voter question is, what are you going to do with the economy? What are you going to do about crime? What are you going to do about the topics that, by and large, the American people are really concerned about? So whether or not these sort of really quick news cycles that we're seeing over the past few days end up influencing voters, I'm not 100% convinced.
And what's really interesting when we discuss women and their preferences, and as you mentioned, women already know who Donald Trump is, despite most women supporting Harris, white American voters, women, support Trump by a pretty large margin. Why is that?
Well, listen, this is historic, right? They did that in the past elections,
right,
and pollsters believe that they are largely following this line. And when I talk to Donald Trump's campaign, they argue that's because these women are less focused on things like abortion. They're more focused on family. They're more focused on how am I going to feed my kids? What is the price of groceries? And those are sort of the women that Donald Trump is getting in this presidential election. And it is a group that Kamala Harris's team is trying to get, but it might be an uphill battle for them.
So considering that, on abortion and reproductive rights, what is the Trump messaging strategy? Because now you see Donald Trump saying he's going to protect the, women's rights, whether they like it or not. But you're suggesting that if he actually stuck to other issues, he would court the women who are already on his side.
Yeah, I think Donald Trump's campaign throughout this entire presidential cycle has not wanted to focus on the issue of abortion. They recognize that it is an issue that helps Democrats more than it helps them. Now, Donald Trump has come out and addressed the topic, and he believes that because he has addressed it, it should be a non-issue. That's probably not going to be the case, but if they had it their way, they would not be talking about abortion.
All right, a couple of days ago, as I say, the election is happening now all around us. Shelby Talcott, thanks for helping us understand it.